Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hump Day, and this is not a recording. We're live here in actually, I was going to say Lemoore, but we're here in the home of Team KO in Farmersville, California, and we're going to have a show. I think we're going to start doing this from now on. Actually, on the mornings, try to mix it up a little bit, get some of the early bloomers. I know a lot of you guys are just rolling out of bed right now and trying to do your hair. But anyways, we got a few things we're gonna cover. I got my co-host here, the Anaconda, Tom Owens here, and now I'm gonna call him. Well, it's Paul Estrada. I was gonna call him the king of Islam, but it's a little joke me and him had. But we won't do that though. But we're gonna catch up with Paul, see some of the new prospects are coming up. I know they called Joe's place that
CVCA.
Is it still that, or it's something different?
Now it's Extreme Grappling and MMA.
Okay, it's the same place, but Paul's the one that's running the show now. And I know periodically Joe does go in there and do his thing too. But so we're going to catch up with him, see what's coming up for the future, a lot of these young bloods, and then talk a little bit about his experience from the past. And stick around, tell a friend. Let's get busy.
Okay, first we then need to scoot down a little bit, or I fix that camera a little bit so we're more centered. What do you think? Little adjustments, guys. That'd be better. Oh, we got three cameras going anyways. So, it's been a long time since I've seen you, Paul. How's everything going?
Everything's going good. Same old thing. Nothing's changed.
I see you're out there with the fighters all the time and you're training fully. That's really something else after all these years. How many years would you say that you've been involved in the sport since you first had your first MMA fight?
My first MMA fight, probably a year after, or less than a year after I started training, so probably about 17 years.
And I remember those days good. It was up there in Porterville, if I remember, in the Gladiator Challenge.
Yeah.
Is that where you got your start?
Yeah, that's where I started. That was a long time ago.
And I'm sure Chris here remembers those days well, because my very first fight out there, I met Chris, and probably the place where a lot of fighters met him. But this dude's been around and taking pictures and doing his thing for quite some time. So, what do you think, Chris, about those old days?
A lot of old days. Those are classic days, man. There was a lot of warriors. I mean, guys that set the foundation, for what we're doing today, and now they're at the level in their life where they're giving back all the knowledge and everything. That's what I feel is personally why these kids are progressing quicker than they did back during that time, because of the wealth of knowledge that these guys are showing them the right way. During the time when you're fighting and Paul and that, I mean, basically it was things that they would read or see, or whether it's Full Contact Fighter, or say things on the internet, Sure Dog, or Boss Rutan's book, or whatever like that. But they've experienced things through years as yourself, through tournaments, fighting, and then help training. I mean, Paul's working probably one of the best young heavyweights right now in Bellator, Javi Ayala.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is his foundation and the work that he's done with him. Not to mention, a lot others too. So, I mean, that says a lot. And here in Central California, where a lot of times they pass, but lately a lot of guys are getting picked up to go to the UFC, and women as well. And they're actually producing and going up the rankings and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, we've had the Central Valley is quickly becoming like a mecca for jiu-jitsu, submission grappling, and MMA. Definitely, I can't really count on my hands how many guys have either made it to Bellator or the UFC. I know you worked and trained with Joe Soto much of his career, right, Paul?
Yeah, all of his career since he started in my garage like about 14 years ago.
See, those are humble beginnings, guys. A lot of us back in that day, we started in garages or small little warehouse or whatever. Mainly like garages would be the setting. And some of the best guys that was the foundation back then. And just look at a guy like Joe Soto. He went from a garage, and then go ahead and name some of his accolades, Paul.
He fought for he won the Bellator He was the first Bellator champion. Defended the title a few times. He fought in the UFC. His first fight was for the UFC belt in the main event against, what was that guy's name? Dillashaw.
Yep.
He fought TJ Dillashaw?
Yeah.
TJ Dillashaw, his first fight. That was crazy how that came about. But yeah.
Did that fight go to a decision?
It went to the end, close to the end of the 5th round, and he got caught with a head kick.
It happens. That's really something.
And you know what? I had a lot, at least half of that fight, he was winning.
Definitely, I remember the fight somewhat.
In the striking part of it, he was winning, and I think he did get caught, but I think Joe was more tired than hurt.
I don't think he was tired. I'm gonna come out and say something. That nobody, I doubt anybody knows, and we got away with for a long time.
I want to hear it.
I don't know if Joe wants me to say this, but I'm gonna come to his defense.
Yeah, we love Joe.
Joe is legally blind. He can't really see. He's got no peripheral vision in his left eye. He's had cataract surgeries, like 3 or 4 of them. He's had retina surgeries. He can only see images, so he's legally blind, and we've gotten a few hookups all the way through in the medicals to where he got to actually fight. But for the guy to fight, and he is legally blind, he can't drive at night, and it's amazing what an athlete he is, and all he's done when he can't see. So,
man, that blows my mind right there, man. That is something I did not know.
So he got caught with a head kick, but he probably didn't even he didn't see it coming because it came from his left side, and he's legally blind. He's got no peripheral vision in his left eye. So the stuff he did throughout his career was amazing.
That is amazing, man. That's really something else. I can't imagine going through all that with just one eye to use. There's so much stuff coming at you in MMA from all angles.
It's hard with
both eyes. He's had cataract surgeries in both eyes. He can't, he sees images. He sees shadows, and if you get up close, then he can kind of, make you out. But he's
still does his thing.
Yeah, still does. All he needs to do is be able to, kind of see you, grab a hold of you.
Damn, that's crazy. Is Joe retired?
Yeah, he's retired now.
So he's a good coach over there, definitely, right?
Yeah, he's a good coach when he goes by. Right now, he's just with his family and
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, he trained really hard for a long time. Some people don't train that hard, but I guess over there where we're at, we train a little harder than most people, and it takes a toll on you. So
yeah, you guys, when we went up there and. We went up there and did the podcast up there and filmed a little bit. Yeah, you guys are definitely going way harder than, because I've been to a lot of the gyms. It's a different flow over there. It's just way harder, a lot quicker. We even had a couple of your students come in to one of the morning classes. I think Armando. And Javier, is that his name? He's going to be fighting soon. Pedroso.
Pedroso, he's fighting.
Yeah, super nice guys. Very humble and everything, really respectful. And man, they're going at it. They're going at it pretty good.
Yeah, it's like kind of the wrestling mentality. You go 100%. There's no over there. You don't get to take a break and go sit up against the wall or anything like that. That's why, a lot of people that come through that can I learn jiu-jitsu? I'll usually send them to another place. If they're a wrestler, okay, well, you can try it out. But if they're coming in and I see them and it's like, you know what, I think they should go somewhere else, I'll send them to another gym. I'll send them to Elite in Visalia, or now I send them to Elite in Porterville. If they're a wrestler, I'll keep them and, give them a shot, see if they can make it. But it's like, we don't really, it's not a school where we, teach and go slow and stuff like that, So,
what if a guy, like a wrestler came in and he had seen submission wrestling or submission grappling without the gi? Those kind of guys you'll bring right in.
Wrestlers, any wrestlers that they've wrestled in high school and stuff like that, we'll give them a shot. But usually people that just, if they don't have any experience in wrestling or anything like that, and they come through,
probably won't last long for one.
Yeah, 90% of them don't make it. It's like the 1%ers over there. That you get beat up every day when you leave. You feel like you got in a fight. You get beat up all the time. It's crazy. The conditions are crazy when guys are training for fights. It's hot over there. It's in the tin building. We turn off the air conditioner, close the door. Sometimes we'll turn on the heater in the summer and just
make it real nice.
Yeah, make it real nice. And sometimes people, they're headed for the door, and we got to pull them back and throw them on the mat when they're getting ready for a fight. So.
That right there's some serious mental discipline.
Yeah.
Hey, out of say 100 people that come through there, what percentage would you say actually stick with it more than 2 or 3 months and actually get deep into it? Or on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, on a scale from 1 to 10, probably less than 1.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I can probably name the guys that have stayed in the last 10 years. People just come through, and, there hasn't been very many that stayed for a long time. There's about 10 in the last 10 years that have stayed. The other ones will train for a few months, and then they'll be gone.
So Joe, does he have brothers? Did he have like a brother or a younger guy that used to fight with him a lot?
He's got 4 brothers. He's got 4 brothers. Or 3 brothers. He's got 3 brothers.
He's the only fighter and wrestler out of the family?
He's the only wrestler out of the family. All his brothers are...
Scrappers?
They're all scrappers, yeah. They're all as tough as he is. They all could have made it.
Yeah, there's definitely certain people have that DNA in them. You know what I mean? When you're talking about the people that stay, there is different types of people definitely in life, and I think very few could even stick with jiu-jitsu, wrestling, or MMA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it takes someone that's like really loves the sport to stay with it. A lot of people move on because they get a girlfriend, they don't have time to train. A lot of people come and go. A lot of people come and go.
You got time for that freaking cell phone, but you don't got time to train.
Yeah, there's not many people that I can think of that were in it that are still in it when I started. Like, I mean, you.
It's a small handful.
You, Tom Knox,
Dela Cruz, Ron
Halsey, Dela Cruz. I could name a few people from Fresno, and there's not like 8-9 people that were doing it then that are still doing it.
Yep, there's very few, and there's a lot of new dojos. There's so many dojos here in Visalia, and like some are questionable and some are legit. You know what I mean? Like I would say definitely if you're a competitor and you want to reach a high level of gi jiu-jitsu, I would send them to Elite too. Because, I mean, they got a ton of killers on that mat. It's pretty wild. Have you rolled over there?
Yeah, I used to roll over there all the time. I'll go once in a while on a Saturday. They don't do much no-gi. I think they still do a little, but they're still good in no-gi. They got a lot of guys there. That's probably the biggest and probably the best school in the valley.
Yeah, I agree. And that's not to hurt anyone's feelings out there, because you guys know I love everyone. Dela Cruz, Camarillo, all these schools are great. But he has done a really good thing over there, man. He's got, like you said, a bunch of killers on the mat that are old school that have stuck with it this whole time. And then he's got young bucks that are rolling with these guys and learning. And man, I've seen, I don't know if the DNA keeps getting better and better with our stages in life, but these young kids they're picking it up quicker and they're evolving faster in my eyes. Maybe I'm nuts, but what do you think about that?
A lot of them pick it up quicker, but like it seems like less and less of them actually stick with it. You know what I mean? They just too much iPhone, too much partying going here. There's a lot more stuff to do nowadays, so they don't stick with it very long. The up and comers, I don't know. I mean, what's that kid's name from Elite that's really good?
All the brothers are, but the main one's Josh Cisneros.
Cisneros. Those kids are. I mean, you think of the young kids that train that come up. Those kids are the only ones I can think of.
Yep.
That are, tell me some other kids that are young that are really good.
And that family, they trained at my school when I had Central Valley Martial Arts.
Yeah.
And Josh was actually a young kid, and then his older brother Alex. And those parents. David Cisneros, the dad, that and the mom too. Man, they've had those kids. They do it in a good way. They don't force them to do it, but they give them choices. And dude, those kids have been solid since they were young, and now they're over there. Like that kid's not just killing it here in the United States. He's going all over the place. He's going around the world to the biggest tournaments, and they're not rushing to give him a black belt either. Like he's having to earn it. And man, dude, that kid he's really something else.
Yeah, he's one of the only up and comers that I see sticking with it. That's doing good. Other youngsters don't. I don't know. I think they get distracted. Another one. Well, he's not really a youngster, but he's he's coming up and he's still getting better and better, and pretty soon he's going to be the best. Is Mason Fowler.
Oh, dude.
I trained with Mason when he was younger. Like, I don't know if he was 16, 17, if he's still in high school or he just got out of high school. He was just a young kid, but I mean, he's dedicated. He's always been dedicated. I think now he's dedicated more than he was, before. So
yeah,
I think he's going to do big things.
Yep, I believe he'll do big things too. And he's like I was saying, there's different types of DNA in people and different mentalities. That guy right there, he's got the right mentality, and he's vicious on the mat. You know what I mean? He's good. He's really, really good. There's another guy too. You might have trained with from Halo, Cole Franson.
I might have rolled with guys, but I don't really remember.
What about this IBJJF tournament that's coming up here in the Central Valley?
Oh, I heard about that, but I don't know much about it.
With the gi and everything.
Oh, with the gi.
It's going to be interesting because pretty much every school in the valley is going to be right there competing. You know what I mean, against each other. It will be all gi, but I think it's still going to be interesting to see what goes on that day. Are you going to go?
No, that's this Saturday. Football season started, dude. We got hell week.
Oh yeah.
We got past the league, man. No, it's just I seen that, and I mean a lot of it. Elite has a lot of.
They got them. They got
over
them
like
more,
100,
most. Yeah.
And then Halo or not Louis, but yeah, Halo.
Yeah, Halo and Luis Gonzalez.
Like 56. So it's a local event, so they got a lot of support, which is good. But I hope the best. Actually,
yeah,
we were gonna have that kidney awareness, and we pushed it back because we didn't want any conflict or people talking about what we were doing. So hopefully it works out for them. But what I don't understand is why they're doing it in the middle school. That's kind of small.
You know what? It was Tom Knox had a lot to do with even bringing this over here because of the success of his students all around.
They wanted to see how it worked out first.
Well, not only that, there's been some really good jiu-jitsu coming out of the Central Valley, and it's only because of the success that's came out of the Central Valley that those guys even thought about doing it. So I think wherever it's at, this first time, it's going to open up eyes of a lot of people, and if they do it again next year, it'll be even bigger. But yeah, the kidney awareness tournament that we're holding, guys, we pushed it back, you know what I mean? Because we want, as many people to come as possible. And it's going to be a chill little tournament. It'll be IBJJF rules, and there'll be legit refs and everything. And it's low cost. And we really hope that you guys will get behind it, you know what I mean? And promote the cause of kidney awareness.
Getting back to, the training and like the jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. I remember the early days going back when they had like the Team Rampage and all that stuff going, Big Ernie and everybody getting together, had some, back then, man, those guys were putting in some work back then. Even today's standards, it would be considered.
Ernie was one of my main coaches in the garage.
I think a lot of guys.
I was talking about him at practice the other day to Javi, and I was wondering what happened to him. Did he fall off the face of the earth?
I don't know.
He's still around. He's still around. That guy was.
He had like one fight, huh? And he won.
I think he did.
Did he fight Van Blanco?
Did he?
I thought
he may have.
It might have. You know what? It might have been. That's true.
Yeah, Ernie, man, his. I remember when I first met Ron, and then he brought Ernie over to the garage, and then Ernie, he kind of liked the setting of just being in the garage right there, and he would come over all the time, and he had trained with the Machados quite a bit, with Higan Machado.
Yeah.
And his technique was solid, man. I learned a lot off that guy. I think Ron and everybody learned a lot off of him. But yeah, those are the good old days.
Yeah, I remember he was one of the first guys that I roll with when I started rolling, and he came to a gym there in Porterville, and we were wrestling in a gym. I think it was on carpet back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember he told me, "Hey, stick with it. You'll be pretty good." I remember he told me that a long time ago.
Big Ernie, man. Good personality, gentle dude, man.
It's hard to find sometimes like big guys like Javi. It's hard to get them training partners.
Yeah, definitely.
It's hard to get big people that
have the skill.
That are athletic. A place where give them a shout out. A place where I take Javi so he can get some training in is Elite in Visalia. I'll call up Niels.
Yeah.
I'll call up Niels, and Niels will.
Niels is awesome.
he'll gather the troops, and we'll go over there, and there'll be like 7 or 8 big dudes, and you don't really see that. You know what I mean? Schools don't have that many big guys, but they got such a big school that they got big guys. And then I'll also go to my school in Bakersfield, Piranha Jiu-Jitsu.
What about striking? Because I know Javi likes to throw them hands.
He works with my cousin. He's a boxing coach, Jim Encinas from Porterville, and then he works with Cruz from
from One Kick. Cruz been around for a long time.
He goes there for twice a week and trains there.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I've known Cruz since way back in the day from school, like junior high and stuff. Yeah, he's always been into martial arts, and I've seen the training that he does. It's pretty legit for Muay Thai. You know what I mean? Don't they have some jiu-jitsu in there too?
Yeah, they have jiu-jitsu.
Steve, I think, is on the other side.
Yeah, Steve Ramirez. Yeah. Steve Ramirez, another guy that started way back in the day. He came.
Oh, Steve Ramirez was brutal.
Yeah, he came to my garage when he first started. I remember that.
Yeah, Steve Ramirez. I always tripped out on him when he fought out there. Like when he would get into a good brawl, like man, like his eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he had that look, man.
When he first started, I mean, he didn't have a lot of training, but that guy was just tough. Who'd he fight? That guy that fought Matt Hughes in the UFC. What was his name?
Gil Castillo.
Gil Castillo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
And Steve wasn't that skilled back when he first started.
He was game,
they just threw him out there.
And they threw him out there to the wolves, and he hung with Castillo, and he kind of socked him up a little bit.
Yeah, he did. That was a raw fight.
And I think it was Castillo 17-0 before he lost to Matt Hughes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he didn't lose many fights, but I remember Steve socked him up.
Yeah, Steve is cool, man. He's from all kinds of walks of life. I seen him at he was bouncing at one of the bars I went to recently. But yeah, he was asking us to take the inside of the dojo over there because he's got the new thing going on over there, and then Crew and them. So we're going to be going by there pretty soon because we're friends with all these guys. But yeah, that's another one.
He fought a really tough that 3-second knockout he had again.
The guy from Bakersfield.
I saw that guy. Yeah. I saw that guy fight Brian Travers.
Yeah, he was going through everybody. Yeah. That's why when they had that fight,
Brian Travers had a tough fight with him. And that's the guy that Brian Travers. I think he should have made it to the UFC. I haven't figured out
man.
He never did.
I know.
So he fought that guy at Watley that Steve fought, and I remember I was there at the convention center. And I didn't know who Steve was fighting, and then he comes out and he's fighting that guy, and I go, oh my God, poor Steve, he's going to get hammered by this guy. Because this guy fought Brian Travers, and he had a war with Brian Travers. Yeah. Brian Travers won, but still, I was like, this guy's an animal. And then 3 seconds later, it's over.
Boom. I do that
for sure. That can happen for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of good memories from back in those days.
Man. Back then. And
even Rafael Del Rio, he didn't have the... maybe the most wins or anything, but yeah, he got in there and with a few guys.
Yeah, he won a lot of fights where he shouldn't have, but he just did it.
Overmatched and still got in there.
Just trying to help himself, mentally and his everything. So
yeah, I've worked with him a few times. Yeah. I think he's a good guy.
He's a good dude.
I like him a lot. Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's out there doing his thing. Hey, in your gym, is there any young bucks that you got coming up right now? They're going to be doing some MMA.
There's 2 or 3 younger guys. They're in high school. Actually, one of them he works out right next door there's a little wrestling club next door, and he's been a little kid. He's not a little kid anymore. He's going to be a senior this next year, and he's one of the top wrestlers in the state.
There you go.
At his weight, he's a smaller guy, about he can fight 135, 125, and the kid's just like Joe. His name is Brian Benavidez. They call him Biscuit. He's I tried to get him a fight last year, but he was only 17. So now that after wrestling season, we're gonna get him his first fight, and he's
be a little handful.
He reminds me of a young Joe.
Yeah, that's a kid. What's his name? Butch's boy trains with that kid.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit with the wrestlers, but man, what I've noticed with wrestlers, the ones that have done it since they were kids, that has to be. I didn't wrestle in high school or anything like that. But from what I've seen, man, that has to be one of the toughest sports for your body and mentality.
Oh,
It is. Both my sons, I got them into wrestling because of that, and I didn't really get them into jiu-jitsu. I'd show them a little here and there, but I wouldn't push them because I wanted them to learn wrestling first, and they just took off in wrestling, and now that that's what they do. Now, I think I should have pushed jiu-jitsu on them, but now they're barely getting into jiu-jitsu.
But man, you gave them that foundation with that.
Yeah,
with
they'll
that.
pick it up.
Oh
They'll
yeah,
pick it up.
they pick it up so quick, man.
Especially if they like it, you know.
Well, Paul, I know you got a ton of submissions. One thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, because back in the day there wasn't near as many leg locks and ankle locks that are going on today. And I remember we had trained quite a few times together, but there was one time in my school you came in and you just leg locked the crap out of me. And I think you. I'm like, where are you learning these leg locks? And if I remember right, you told me it was out of a book from Eric Poulsen.
Eric, well, yeah, back then you try to learn from anywhere you could. They didn't have YouTube back then, so you try to, find a book, look it up. And
how do you compare? Because man, you had quite an arsenal, I think, with the leg locks and ankle locks, the heel hooks, toe holds and stuff. How do you think that you've obviously watched tournaments and stuff now? Gordon Ryan and all these guys, they're leg lockers. How does it differ to you from back then?
Now guys will sit there and they'll get in the 50-50 and they'll play with each other's feet and they'll wrist stuff. Back then, I mean, I don't think I ever risked sticking my feet anywhere. I know how to get out of leg locks, but I'm not going to sit there and give people my legs.
Play footsies?
Yeah, I'm not going to play. I'll go for it when I got it, but I'm not going to sit in no one's 50-50 guard and go back and forth and back and forth. Nowadays they just sit there and give each other their feet and then pull them out.
I noticed at your gym that when I was watching, you guys do a lot of heel hooks.
Yeah, a lot of heel hooks, reverse heel hooks, and toe holds. It started with, I think you guys know John Rooker.
Yes.
I trained with him a long time ago, and that's the guy that first got me started in leg locks. He got me, he started the whole thing with me, and then from then it was rolling with Ron, Ron Holsey, with Ron, and with Ron it was funny because he would show you something. Hey, you're doing this, do this. Oh, okay. He'd show you the counter to what he was getting you in, but then when you go for the counter, he had a counter to that.
Yeah.
So you were kind of screwed all the way around unless
Yes.
you were rolling with someone else. But going with him, I had to make up stuff. Because I had to come up with stuff because he knew every move, you know what I mean? Every basic move and stuff like that he knew, so I had to try to come up with leg locks, and I came up with a few of them rolling with Ron.
Ron.
I still do today, but Ron, he's
OG right there.
Yeah, he's a big reason, probably one of the only reasons that I got as good as I did. He rolled at my house in my garage for like 10 years.
Yep, that's where when I met Ron was in Djibouti just for a short time, and then I opened up my garage, which was the box back then. And Ron would come over a lot with Ernie, and he just started coming over a lot by himself. And man, I'd have that guy like one-on-one for an hour, just him teaching me stuff and just tapping me out over and over and over, step by step too, like not in a crazy fast way. Real pressure game and like a chess game to him. And he's just on top of every move that you do, because like you said, he's got a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, he's right now he's like, he's a pretty skinny guy. He weighs like 160, 165. But that guy, he's as strong as any bodybuilder I've ever rolled with, or any heavyweight. That guy, when he's on top of you, it feels like there's a 300-pounder on top of you.
Especially with that S-mount.
Yeah, and he's only like 160, 165.
Another guy I want to talk about a little bit. He doesn't. A lot of us OGs know about him. OG. Hey, is Luis Speedy Gonzalez. He's in Tulare. He doesn't brag or boast. You don't really hear anything coming from him. But man, he goes way back to those days too. And going in the garage and just traveling around. He'd travel up to Half Gracie's school like twice a week. And the guy, he'd train with Batata up there. And Luis, he's over there in Tulare. If you guys live in Tulare and you want to get some good gi jiu-jitsu, it's mainly gi jiu-jitsu, stop in and see Luis. It's a good spot. Yeah,
I used to work out with him. I used to pay him for him to help me with my jiu-jitsu when I first started. And the guy, I don't see or hear too much of him, from him. I know he's in Tulare, but that guy was, he was up there with Ron too. He was on his own.
And Luis back then was like 125, 135. Yeah. And me and him, we took a trip to Brazil together to stay for a month, and our big thing back then is we wanted to compete in the World Championships because they didn't have it in the United States yet. And we both went out there, and I think I got tapped out pretty quickly. But Luis, he actually got like 3rd place in that, going against, and this is in Brazil, like you're going against some dudes that are training with the best dudes in the world. So yeah, it was pretty impressive. Who else can you think in the Valley, man?
Big James, huh?
James Tavares?
James Tavares, yeah, that guy. I never roll with him,
Oh, he was a beast back in the day.
Yeah.
We'd bring that guy to tournaments, and he was a big dude. Like, he would have been a good guy to work with, Javi.
Yeah.
But man, he's a super smart dude, and he, like I said, he's a little bit different mentality. And man, we'd go to these tournaments down south, up north, and he'd be going against Gracie students and students from all these good schools. And yeah, he had a lot of success. James Tavares, he could still come in and do it.
Yeah, I played football with him at COS. We won a championship there at COS the last time they won a championship. I played with him there, and then
you played football at COS?
Played football at COS with James. When I went back, I was like 26. James was like, I think he was early 21, 22. And I remember afterwards, I'm like, hey, there's James. James is into jiu-jitsu. I remember when he fought Ron Waterman. Remember when he fought Ron Waterman?
Yep, fought Ron Waterman.
Yeah. And he really didn't have no stand-up training or no wrestling.
He just hopped in there.
Yeah, and Ron Waterman was, he was
high level
guy. Pride fighter.
Well known. Yeah. Well, and he's a big old beast.
Yeah. So
another guy that he's kind of keeps to himself too, but they do compete a lot is Mark Dela Cruz, and he's been around for a long time.
Mark, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, Mark, you guys, he's over there, and I believe it's called Get Fit Gym, and he's a black belt under the Camarillo brothers, like super legit. And Mark is a super cool guy. You know what I mean? You can go in that gym even if you don't know anybody, and everybody's pretty cool, ego free. So yeah, there's Mark, and who else, Chris?
Well, I mean, I know Perez brothers, Mondo and them. Dude, the trifecta.
Yeah, trifecta with Mo.
Those guys are coming up pretty fast.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good. She's building up she has a great, Miriam Renault, guys. She goes by Mo. And she made it to the UFC, another Central Life fighter that made it to the UFC. And we went and trained in her gym, and she's a school teacher, so she's got that mentality, and she's got a huge kids team growing, and the adults too, and she runs that thing just like a teacher. You know what I mean? She does. I was impressed by it, actually. She's running it like a teacher. That's her mentality, but she don't take anything from anybody. You know what I mean? They got some good dudes in there too.
Yeah, I think because they got now a kids wrestling program going on now. I talked to Mondo. Mondo's one of my good friends.
Mondo Perez?
Yeah, Mondo Perez.
He's cool, man.
He's tough on the mat.
That guy's a beast.
Keeps good control. He's a wrestler. He's hard to submit. But he started a kids wrestling class too. So he's building them up in wrestling, and I tell him, you know what? In a few years, you guys are going to have some of the best kids there is because wrestling and jiu-jitsu.
It's a great mix.
Yeah, and he was a great wrestler, and he's a good wrestling coach. So
he's cool too, man. He has a real good attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we train with some of his cousins here, and then Jeffrey Lewis trains over there too. Like those guys they're all beast. And
you're all from this area, huh?
Yeah, they're all from this area. Like Farmersville, it's a small little town that we're in right now. They put out some damn good wrestlers, just tough kids. You know what I mean? They got a lot of heart. They don't really have anything else to do. You got to see the kids that come in here for this wrestling program here. Juan Pato Jimenez, he used to fight as well. He's mainly a wrestler, and he's got this program. It's free. You know what I mean? The jiu-jitsu program I teach is free for the kids. Danny, the owner of this place, he almost keeps this place open on his own dollar. You know what I mean? But yeah, these kids they're doing the wrestling and mixing it up with the jiu-jitsu. And yeah, guys, if you're out there and you want to donate to a good cause, this gym's a good cause right here. It gets all these kids off the street. Even if they don't train wrestling or jiu-jitsu, there's a program here where they just do a workout. You know what I mean?
What's the name?
The name is Team KO, the gym name. It's Team KO, and it's right here on Farmersville Boulevard. And you can PM me or Archie or Chris, and we can tell you all about it. All we ask from adults is that every once in a while you throw a little donation in to help Danny out, the guy that runs the gym. And hopefully here pretty soon we're going to be getting new mats and, upgrade the gym a little bit. And I think this is a cool setting for the podcast.
Yeah, this is pretty good, man.
This gym reminds me of like an old boxing gym. You know what I mean? Like back in the day. And it's pretty cool. It's nothing fancy, but there's some guys and they do a fight sparring day on Saturdays. So if you're a fighter and you want to get some tough sparring, they may not be the most knowledgeable guys in all the arts, but they do come in here and they strap on the gloves and everything, and they mix it up with. They do the whole MMA deal. You know what I mean? It's pretty good. It's pretty good training if you have some guys that want to just get some sparring in with new guys. But yeah, Farmersville.
A lot of stuff. Let's recap.
And good burritos.
Burritos.
Best tacos, dude.
Right across the street, huh?
Yeah, we got tacos right across the street.
The owner here has
Don
a connection.
Chavez. Yeah, Danny's wife and her family, they own Don Chavez right across the street. That's usually where I go after this.
And I pulled in here. I didn't realize they had $2.99 gas.
Yeah, Farmer's got $2.99 gas right now.
I looked. I was like, "Whoa, we're not even at Tachi."
cheapest in town. It might be half water or something. You know what I mean?
I pulled in. I said, "Whoa, $2.99."
Yeah, it could have like a little DNA in there or something. You know what I mean? Mixed into it. But yeah. Hey, real quick. Real quick for us in the show and our sponsors. I want to give a big thank out to Own a Car. They're from Fresno, one of our sponsors. And if anybody, the show's growing and it's going to be growing quick. We're working full time on it now. It's not part time anymore. And any sponsors would be great. We'll definitely promote your deal. It's going to be seen by many eyes. And yeah, Own a Car for all your car needs. If you're in Fresno or you even want to drive up there, super cool people. They'll work with you. It's good. And then you guys might be thinking, Tom, why are you wearing a tie-dye shirt like some freaking hippie? My niece and my nephew, me and my family, we're trying to teach these kids the value of working and make a buck while they're young and get them out the damn door off these freaking cell phones. Yeah. These kids, like for instance, I had my family over. There's 5 kids in a room on the couch. Every one of them's on the phone. There's no talking going on.
Even adults, everybody's heads down.
Even the adults. But the kid, like us adults, like this generation, we've kind of seen the other stuff. We didn't have cell phones back then. Man. You know what I mean? We've seen all this come, but dude, if parents and teachers and whoever doesn't get this in line, our next generation is not going to be that good. And so, I like the cell phone too. I like the cell phone too. And, I'm not being a hypocrite, but man, our younger kids, you need to get them out the door for some kind of sport or just out to play. And I think, jiu-jitsu is great, wrestling is great. Give your kids something, man, because if they're going to be with their neck straight like that, when the next generation is going to literally have a bent neck. You know what I mean?
I make my kids work out every day, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether I take them to go run, lift weights. I mean, every day they got to work out, but it seems like every day as soon as they get back in the house, they're boom.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
what did they miss,
man.
Yep.
What did they miss?
You didn't miss anything. You only gone for an hour.
Dude, when we were kids, man, if there was any free time, we were out the door playing. It's dude, I was riding a skateboard half my life, BMX racing. I was always into something like that. And yeah, we've seen the cell phones come into play. But anyhow, sorry about my rant.
No, I
cell
support
phones.
That 106%.
I support it, definitely. My niece, they started out with a lemonade stand, and it's working pretty good, but she's a kind of an artistic kid. Both my niece and my nephew. But now her new idea is she's making these tie-dyes. She's only been doing it for a couple days, and you can get one from me. Homemade. You can ask for your own colors or anything.
What about
if you want to be a hippie.
The Cbd oil with it.
Cbd oil?
Yeah, could you get that too?
I can. Got all kinds of friends that have it. One of our students actually is
popular. Popular.
CBD, if you guys don't know, it's a compound from the hemp plant, the marijuana plant, but it doesn't have the THC, which is what alters your conscience and gets you stoned or high. The CBD, pretty much tasteless. From what I've noticed from it, because I've been having seizures for about the last 6 months. Since I've been taking the CBD, it has helped with that. It helps with the sleep. and pain relief. I quit taking I was taking a lot of aspirin and ibuprofen for training, just probably way too much. You know what I mean? And lately I've been using that CBD oil. There's a million different companies out there. You can go to the Arabian store and get it over the counter now. And I'm not talking bad about them, but they're on top of the game too. Have you ever tried it?
No.
I know Cole's selling something like that.
Everybody's getting into it.
Get some spill
They're saying it's going to be a big multi-billion, but there's just so many people doing it. You know what I mean? And yeah, you can go to the Woodlake Marijuana Club and you can go in there and buy it. You could buy it online. Like I said, you can go to 7-Eleven and get it. You know what I mean? I have a couple friends that bring it here, and I get it from them. You know what I mean? To support their deal. But yeah, I like it with a little THC in there.
Talking about shit like
I've never smoked marijuana in my life, not even one hit. Just like to go out and say that, since all my friends have, but I just never have. Never.
There's nothing wrong with that, man.
Never felt like doing it.
That's
and
cool.
Now it's like, well, I've gone all these years without doing it.
You might take a little puff, dude.
But hey, now, honestly, I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain from
it helps
all
the pain.
Jiu-jitsu. I've actually thought, you know what? When I retire and I'm done with my job,
yeah,
you can't do drugs and work most places. When I'm done with that and I retire, I might take a few hits to try to relieve the pain, because I've heard good things about it, but I've never tried it.
Yeah, I've tried it a few times.
He's the Snoop Dogg of.
You know what? Like, hey, when I was younger, we were taking it to the limit, man. Like just way too much. What I've learned, what I've learned though, like over the years, especially the evolution of it. You know what I mean? Not to turn this into a marijuana show, but hey, this stuff that they're growing, it's just evolution, and it's not to be messed with. You know what I mean? And I found, definitely for pain and for sleep and to relieve anxiety and stress, it's not bad every once in a while. I don't recommend guys that are fighting and competing. You got to keep your freaking head straight. You know what I mean? Don't be messing around with any of that stuff.
Do. That's what they train on. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighters. I've heard there's a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, a lot of fighters that like to use it. Me, if I was to do that, I would just get paranoid. You know what I mean? But yeah, Paul's way is the good way. You know what I mean?
For fighters, I don't know, probably marijuana is a lot. You're a lot safer doing marijuana than you are if you want your career to go on.
Yeah.
Then get with a girl, because women will take you away from this sport. I've seen a lot of guys go because of women. A lot of guys that I trained with that had belts that, you know what? Their old lady told them, you know what? Not no more. And that's it.
Well, a lot of women, what I've learned too, with a lot of the guys, that man, they fall in love with it. They fall in love with it, and they start wanting to come every day. And you got to have that. If it's a wife, you got to have like the yin and the yang. You know what I mean? And then it ends up they do a little too much, and they get drawn away back to the home.
I've told every girl that I've ever dated or been with, whatever, that, you know what, this is what I do. If you come in the way of me training, that's it, we're done. I will never stop training.
Those are strict rules.
Yeah, they're strict rules, you know what I mean? I got time for you, but when I train. Don't try to talk me out of training. Let's go, because you talk me out of training once or twice, guess what?
It's over.
You're trying to sabotage me, and we're done.
There's no more dates to the movie.
Yeah,
you got to let them know right in the beginning.
Yeah, I'd rather be with jiu-jitsu than everybody.
Yep, jiu-jitsu is pretty good route to go, I would say. Any kind of fighting. But man, how we doing? Okay, so again here, I just want to talk about the this show is about the locals mainly. We're gonna get out there mainstream, and we'll be all around soon. But I'm just really impressed, man, with what the Central Valley has become with not only the grappling, but the MMA. It's man, in our time, what has it been? 10 years?
Yeah.
In the 10 years. From going to garages and having to leave the town to go train at good spots.
And you've got everybody. Everybody can attest to this, that you've met some great people in this sport. I played other sports, and you kind of know people from other sports, but in MMA, you meet the best people. I don't really meet anybody or roll with anybody or ever really roll with anybody that I can say, man, that wasn't a good dude. That wasn't an awful dude. You know what I mean? Everybody. I met people that I would have never met, like Anthony Reese, just Isaac De Jesus.
I can't imagine how many guys you've had come through with Joe.
Yeah, with Joe, and then I always go places, like I said, Isaac De Jesus, John Reedy, Anthony Reese, all these guys, Phil Collins, all these guys from from up north that I got to know because of this sport. And you know what I mean? It's just, I just think that people that do this sport, they just become so respectful and so humble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't that way before the sport. You know, I was a much bigger asshole than I am now.
Yeah.
But
real prick.
I mean, I would have gotten a fight in a second back in the day with anybody, anywhere. Now, man, I don't want to fight nobody.
No, that's usually what it leads to.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna, and I tell the guys at the gym, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go up, someone tells you something, they piss you off. What are you gonna do? Beat them up and come back and brag to us that you beat up someone that didn't know how to fight?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I'd fight is if someone was assaulting me, and I'd probably choke them out or something. I don't want to beat nobody up. Yeah,
that's the good thing about grappling. You don't have to put hands on them. You know what I mean? You can subdue them or whatever. But yeah, like the best way, to avoid a fight is shake their hand and walk away, or just avoid it all in all. Buy the guy a beer. I've had to do that before at bars. You know what I mean? Not had to, but I just did it.
They got you and they made it.
Well, one night it was after when the first couple fights I had a little bit of success. After that I got my ass kicked. But it was one of those first fights, and it was me and my friends, and we went to a bar. You know what I mean? And the guy came up, he's like, "That's my chair." You know what I mean? And I could have had a second fight for the night, or even my friends could have jumped in or whatever. And I just got off the chair and bought him a beer, and then within 15 minutes, me and him were talking.
Yeah. I mean, if I didn't train, that would offend me, and I would want to fight him right there. But since, you know what I mean, you train, you're like humble. It's like, okay. That's
what do you have to prove, really?
Yeah, what I got to prove? Okay, that's your chair. You can have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's good for your kids too, man. You teach them. Beginners, sometimes the ones that are new and the ones that don't stick with it, they come in and, you got to be careful with some guys. You don't always know what the mentality is of people. But like Paul said, the ones that stick with it, it's almost a samurai mentality. And it's like the yin and yang, you know what I mean? There's the peaceful side, and then there's the dark side or evil, whatever you want to call it. And you have to be able to blend those things together and know the right thing to do in the right moment. And yeah, we don't promote street fights or nothing like that. We do promote hard training though, and competition. If you want to fight, you put that energy into a competition, or maybe you take it to boxing or kickboxing or MMA, one of the toughest sports, or wrestling. Yeah, it's good, man. What you got, Chris?
Oh, and as time evolves, you see more and more families are involved. It's becoming like a family sport. We talked earlier, look how many kids, parents are doing their deal, but then the kids too, and they love it. It is. I mean, we talk about how the kids' activity, physical activities, they don't get it like they used to when we were kids. Always outside, we have to get called in. Hey, you guys come and eat?
Yep.
We're eating dinner.
That's exactly
now
right.
Kids in, they go to the room. I want to eat in the room.
Dude, my nephew, he'll actually...
Like, no. My grandsons, it's fortunate, but unfortunately, I got guardianship of my grandsons, and anyways, one just turned 12, and the youngest one is 7. But football is like their sport.
Yeah, that's good.
So we do like all the camps, and we just did all these, go to different facilities and do all these training and stuff. That's what we do. Today they took a break. They're going to Magic Mountain with my daughter.
There you go. At least they're outside.
And then come Monday we start Hell Week. So
football's a tough sport too.
Give them a little bit.
I coached football for 28 years. I've been out of school. I coached for I think 24 of those years. And
what position were you, Paul?
I was a running back.
Running back, yeah.
And I'm taking this year off of coach asking. The next few years I'm taking off of coaching so I can work with my boys in jiu-jitsu to help their wrestling and train them in wrestling because they want to get a scholarship to go somewhere in wrestling. So
that's cool, man.
I'm going to help them out and take them to the people I know that were really, really good wrestlers and just.
You're a great guy to have for a mentor. Hey, one more time, what's the name of your training center?
Extreme Grappling and MMA.
And that's in Porterville, California, right?
In Porterville, California.
So guys, if you're, like I was saying at Doug Marshall's school the other day, you can have loyalty to your gym or anything and be loyal to your coach, but if you're getting ready to get in a fight, you really want to train with some of the best if you want to be one of the best. I say that a lot, but it means it. If you're fighting in the Valley, you ought to be looking up these gyms like this because you're going to get in that cage and it's no joke. And if your coach really is behind you and he wants to see you do good, which a lot of them, they're more worried about, oh, this guy's leaving my gym or whatever. If your coach is really behind you and wants to see you do well, he will send you to other places or bring you to him. You know what I mean? So you can get those rounds in.
I take my guys to other places, and I tell them all, you guys go wherever you want to go, because believe me, you'll be back to train if you're serious about it. You know.
Yep, you'll be back to train. And you got a serious gym over there.
Yeah, if you're in Visalia, Elite in Visalia, best place to train. If you're in Bakersfield, Piranha Jiu-Jitsu, Camarillo's. You know, if you're in Porterville, you know, we're there. So
Fresno, Pacific Martial Arts, one of the real OGs right there.
Pacific Martial Arts, and Dethrone with Jason Kraft. He's a good guy.
There's so many guys.
Yeah.
There's so many spots to train, but yeah, back in the day, there was no problem of us traveling around to these other spots. That's how you get real good. That's how you see different looks, and you get different bodies on you, and guys are attacking you in different ways. And then it's like going into a tournament because you don't know the guy, and you're getting to roll with these other people.
Yeah, and that's what it was. But early days, when you guys were training, first starting and doing all that stuff, you had all the, not so much you guys, because everybody was kind of like a Ronin from everywhere else, but then you start getting these gyms where, oh, well, you're not loyal to us anymore, and a lot of guys would kind of stay right there, and they would stay stagnant.
Still happens a lot.
And you would see that, especially during the fights. I don't know how many times I used to tell Doug, dude, you need to go over the hill, man, and start training other people.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're not loyal, but to get to that next level.
Yeah,
every time somebody from Southern California comes, what the fuck? They're like light years ahead.
And they bring these promoters, like, I say it all the time, and sometimes they get upset, but that crowd wants to see a knockout or a submission, and a lot of times, I seen it at one of the recent shows, like, they're bringing these killers in from good schools, and you better be damn prepared, or you are going to get knocked out or get choked by some guy that's trying to make it to the UFC.
I worked with a lot of guys that, you know, that came through my garage that, you know, I mean, they came through and I was like, oh, that dude, you know, like, they weren't nothing at the time, but then later on, you know, that dude's in the UFC, like Danny Costello.
Yeah.
He came and rolled at my house before his first fight, and, you know, I got to know him, and next thing you know, he's training with Uriah in the UFC, you know what I mean?
And he turned out real good.
Yeah, he turned out real good. I trained up there with Uriah and those guys, but then
how was that going over there?
Oh, those are good dudes. Those all
seem like they're cool.
I thought I was on another planet. Those dudes were just too nice. They were.
How about the training though? Was it raw?
Oh yeah, the training was good, but those guys were we stayed there a week, me, Poppies, and Joe, and like every time we saw them, it was like, hey bro, what's up?
Oh, that's cool.
They were all just cool dudes. Those are the coolest dudes ever.
They don't call him the California Kid for nothing.
Yeah,
we're cool in California. Hey, okay, guys, you can give us input or whatever. You know what I mean? Anytime you can. Me and the podcast here, we're doing that episode of Inside the Dojo. Some of you might have seen it. We're trying to hit all these local gyms, guys. We don't discriminate against everyone. So you can contact, personal message either Chris Ronquillo, our producer Archie Tovar, or myself, Tom Owens. And you can reach us through other routes too. But get a hold of us because we want to go to all these gyms. And if anybody out there wants to sponsor, we'll put your sponsor right on our shirt. You know what I mean? It's going to get a lot of coverage when we do these shows, and we'll promote it in other ways also. But right now we got Own a Car in Fresno. Like I said, if you want a car, you want a used car or a new car, cool people, super cool people. They'll work with anybody out there. You don't have to worry. Oh, my credit's not good. They'll work with anybody out there. So, and then also these badass tie-dye shirts right here. I can get you one. All right, get a hold of me, fresh made. And one more thanks to Team KO, Danny Valadinos. He's the owner of Team KO. We do jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all kinds of different stuff, boxing, kung fu here. If you want to come by Farmersville and check us out in Team KO, you're always welcome. And Danny Valadinos, the owner, I got to give him a lot of props because he only keeps this place open on pretty much his own dollar. And he's all about helping these kids and getting them out of their house, just like we're talking about. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you're out there and you missed some of the show, you can always go on our website and see more. Okay, you can see my ugly face and handsome Paul over here. Okay, you guys got anything else you want to close it up with?
And don't forget our primary sponsor is Spike and Rail out there in Selma, California. Also, Visalia MMA, Eddie Aguirre out there. He's back from Mexico, so hit him up. He's got killer deals. And then
I heard he was helping build a wall over there.
Yeah.
Good job,
They
man.
are.
Put a few bricks up,
He
bud.
Even some tunnels.
Yeah, and it was, he was building the wall, and he had, it wasn't Led Zeppelin was playing too, so he would have put another brick in that wall.
There you go.
But anyways, we appreciate all the people following us, all the positive feedback and stuff like that, and then a special shout out to our other co-host Bailey Silvera out there at Valley Fight Club.
Yep.
With all the support from everybody like that, it helps us do what we do. And then of course 559 Fights. Check out the 559 Fights coming to Visalia. We're on the mat. We're going to be having big things go out there as far as the booth, after fights, interviews, stuff like that. So
Jeremy
stay
Luchal.
tuned. And also we're on iTunes now too. So if you miss it here, you can check us out on there.
That's right. We're building up.
And that's it.
Hey, Paul Estrada, thank you very much for coming on the show, and it was good
Definitely,
seeing you
Thanks
again.
for having me.
A lot of old
Thanks.
memories
I
right there,
enjoyed
man.
it.
Thank you
Oh,
very
yeah.
much.
Enjoyed it.
Good
Thanks.
times.
We're going to be having technique segments soon, and we'll get Paul over here, and we'll show some stuff, guys. And we're going to get multiple guys over here from all different gyms, and you'll be able to see some cool stuff. See me get tapped out a lot.
You know what? If people want to contact you and train, how do they get a hold of you, bud?
Facebook Paul Estrada. My number is 350-9311, area code 559. If you guys want to train any fighters that need help for their fight and they want to train seriously, give me a call. We got a bunch of guys that got upcoming fights. Javier Ayala, I'm working right now with Mitchell Sipe and a few other guys. Any fighters that got a fight coming up and they want to hit a camp, hit me up.
There you go. You have it right there. So train at your camp and come and train with Joe Soto and Paul Estrada. So guys, once again, thanks for watching, and we'll close it up with there. Next Wednesday we'll be back in our little spot here, and we'll do it again, guys.